In this video, we are going to learn how to find the surface area of pyramids. Let's begin. So, a pyramid is a three-dimensional figure with one base and triangular faces that come to a point at the top. This makes it different from a prism because a prism has two bases and it has rectangular faces or rectangular sides, whereas a pyramid has one base and triangular faces. Now, there are different kinds of pyramids. We're only going to focus on rectangular and triangular pyramids, but I mean, you could technically have a pyramid with a pentagon or octagon or hexagon or any number of bases. So you can technically have a triangle with 12 faces, 12 triangular sides that meet up at a point. Anyhow, pyramids are named after the shape of their base. So there are rectangular pyramids, triangular pyramids, pentagonal pyramids, hexagonal pyramids. Depends on the shape of the base. And the number of faces is determined by the number of sides of the base shape. So basically what that means is a rectangle has four sides, which means it's going to have four faces. The pyramid will. And this triangle has three sides, therefore it's going to have three faces. A pentagon has five sides, so it's going to have five triangular faces, and so on. All right, so here we have the base, and these are all faces. You can use face, face, face. This is a base right here. Oops, it's pretty messy. This is a face, and these are also faces. What else do we need to know? We need to know that this right here, this has one rectangular base. So this rectangular pyramid has one rectangular base. It has four triangular faces, which means a total of how many sides? That is correct, a total of 5 sides. When we look at this triangular pyramid, it has one triangular base, basically one triangle base. And it's got how many faces? 3, and they are all triangular. And it has a total of 4 sides. So one base plus 3 faces equals 4 sides, whereas this rectangular one has one base and 4 sides, 4 faces, which means 5 sides. All right, they want us to draw a net to find each surface area of the pyramid. So if you look at these nets, this is the base, and you basically fold the sides up, and the triangles meet at the point, at the tip. Same with this one, you just fold these white sides upwards, and then it'll meet at a point at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my little net. It's a rectangular pyramid, and it's got if you look at this guy, it's got a base of 10 and a height of 10. So you could even say this is 10 and this is 10. And then this triangle, what we need to know about this triangle is it does have a height, because you see that little T right there? Yeah, you see that guy right there? Makes a T. The base of this triangle is 10, and the height of this triangle is 16. So we're probably going to want to write that down. I'm going to say that the height of this triangle, and basically all the triangles, is 16. So we basically have one base plus 4 of these triangles. Let's do the base first. Base times height is our formula, and our base is 10. Our height is 10 for this rectangle, which gives us 100 feet square. Let's do our triangles now, and we only have one of them, so we don't have to do anything else. We have 4 triangles, and the formula for that is base times height divided by 2. And we know the base is 10 and the height is 16, so base is 10 times the height, which is 16, and we need to divide it by 2. And I mean, you could do some reducing if you want, but once you stick that in your calculator, you find out that the surface area, or the area, is 80 feet square. Now, remember that there are four of them. So what you're probably going to want to do is multiply this by 4. Now you can also just say, well, this is 100 right here, and this is 80, and this is 80, and this is 80, and this is also 80, and you could just add all those numbers up, or you can just add, figure out what 80 times 4 is, which is 8, 16, 24, 32, 320. So that's 320 feet square. And you're going to add it to this right here, which is 100. So our answer should be, if we add it all together, plus 100 should be a total of, and I'm going to write it up here, but it's going to be 420 feet square. And that's that. Let's go ahead and go to the next one, example 2. So I'm going to draw my net right here. This one's going to be weird. Let me do a regular triangle. So even though that triangle is like angled, the way your net looks doesn't really matter all that much. So it looks like that, and like that, and like that. So that's my base. And let's take a look at the information of my base. Here is my base. And if we look at the base, it does have a height which runs down, and it has that little right angle right there. So the base and the height are actually right here and right there, and that's of the base. So my base is 6 and my height is 5.2. That's nifty to know. So 6 and 5.2. So I've got my one base. This will be my B. And then I've got my faces. I'm going to add my faces, and I've got 3 faces. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, my 3 faces. My 3 faces. Formula for both of them is base times height divided by 2. But let's go ahead and put in the information from my base, which is the base of this base was 6, and the height of this base is 5.2. I know, confusing. So 6 times 5.2. And then you divide the whole thing by 2. Once you multiply it out on your calculator, you're going to get 15.6. And I only have one base, so that's a good start. It's not our answer. I'm not circling it because it's my answer. I'm just kind of pointing it out. All right. Next, I guess I could highlight it. Well, next, I need my faces, and my faces are these guys right here. So, so that's a face. You've also got other faces, but this one actually has a base and a height. So I'm going to use, let's use red. So look at that right angle. Forms a little T, which means this 6.2 is still going to be important, but this height is not 5.2. It's actually 8, as you can see. So our base is 6. Our height is 8, and all that gets divided by 2. When you multiply that out, you should get 24. Now, keep in mind, there are 3 of these faces, so you're going to want to multiply this by 3. And 3 times 24 is 75, 74, 72, I believe it is 72. So now that I have my one base and my 3 faces, I add them up. And 15.6 plus 72 is going to be 87.6. 87.6 what? Meters. We're talking about area, so it's going to be meters squared. So that is going to be answer for number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 3. You can try it on your own if you'd like. These are pretty tricky, so especially example 4, but let's take a look at this one. Example 3, we have a rectangular pyramid, which is kind of nice. Or you could call it a square pyramid if you want also. But it's got a rectangular base. And we're going to add it to our triangles, and we have 4 of them. So 4 of our triangular sides. So let's take a look at this guy. It is our base. Oh, it's got a base of 30, and it's got a height of 30. That's nifty. Formula is base times height, so let's do 30 times 30, which I believe is 900. Ooh, nice. Now I still need to add it to my my 4 triangular faces. So let's look at my triangular faces. Let's look at this one. And if you look at this guy right here, does it have a base and a height? Yes, it does. Here's my right angle. The base is right over there, which makes it 30. And the height goes down, which makes this 39 inches. So we now have the base and the height of that. And let's write the formula first. Base times height divided by 2. And base is 30. Height is 39. And you need to divide by 2. And those of you wondering, like, hey, is it okay if I do height times base? What if I mix the numbers and do 39 times 30? You're going to get the same answer, so don't worry about it. So once I multiply 30 times 39, I actually get 585. You can punch that in your calculator. I just did in my head, 585. And that's not exactly 4 triangles. That's just one triangle. Remember, it's 4 of them, so you got to multiply times 4. So 585 times 4. Unfortunately, I do not know what that is off the top of my head, so you can punch it in your calculator. You may be faster than I am. You probably are. Oh, that's 2340 for 4 of them. And now I still have to add it to that. So 2340 plus 900, that's calculator work. That's 3240. So my answer is 3240. That's not complete because we need to put in the units. It's inches and it is surface area, which is in squares. Let's take a look at the next one. Rectangular pyramid. Now the last 2 rectangular pyramids had square bases. This one does not have a square base. And so when we do this one, it's going to be a little trickier. So I am going to do rectangle plus, oops. So let me draw my net. So I've got these 2 guys and I've got those 2 guys right there. So one of these sides is 17.5 and the other side is 18. With the triangle, we've got oh my goodness, we've got 2 different kinds of triangles. Here's the crazy part. You've got the front triangle, or if you look at these 2 triangles on the sides, these 2 triangles are going to be different than these 2 triangles. Now, why is that? Well, if it's a rectangle, then this triangle has a base of 18, and this triangle over here has a base of 17.5. So you cannot just add 4 triangles over here. You actually are going to need to add, and well, something to note is also the front and the back triangles will be the same because they have the same bases, and the 2 side triangles will be the same. So we can say we are adding 2 triangles plus another 2 triangles, and we got to figure out which one is which. So we can say let's do 2 of the 17.5 base triangles and 2 of the 18 base triangles. And the height for this one is, well, let's take a look at the 17.5 triangle. What is the height of this guy? Well, let's look at the right angle. Let's look at the height, which means it is 25.1. Ooh. So this has a height of 25.1. And let's look at our 18-inch base triangle. It has an 18-inch base or 18 centimeter base. And if you look up, it has a 25 centimeter height. So it's going to be 25. All right. I think we're ready. We're set up. We have our rectangular base plus our 2 faces plus the other 2 faces. This is difficult, so let's do our formulas. I'm going to go ahead and write the formulas for all of them while I'm at it. Okay. Base times height. This is 18 times 17.5, and I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I do now. It is 315, and we only have one of these sides, so we're good. Base times height divided by 2, so goodness gracious, 17.5 times 25.1 divided by 2. Calculator work. 17.5 times 25.1 divided by 2. I got 219.625. 625. Now remember, there are I'm going to highlight it. There are 2 of them. So I am going to multiply by 2 times 2. So in my calculator, punch in times 2, and I got 439.25. Finally, my last one, my other 2 triangles, the one with the 18 centimeter base. Let's do 18 times 25, and 18 times 25 is 450. Now remember, I have 2 of them, so I still need to multiply by 2. So 450 times 2, I actually know that off the top of my head, it's 900. Now I'm not done here. Remember, I still have to add this number plus this number plus this number. So 450 plus 439.25 plus 315, which is what I'm going to write down. 350, oops, that's not writing. And let's use red. So 315 plus 439.25 plus 900, and that is going to equal 1204.25 centimeters squared. Holy moly, that was a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But now you know how to do it. All right, we've got 2 more examples. They're both going to be of triangular pyramids. What makes these difficult is they are harder to, they're hard to, it's hard to read the images. Something to keep in mind is you are not always, we have 2 equilateral triangles as bases here, which means all the sides are the same, which means like if this side is 10, this side is also 10, and this side is also 10. You need to keep in mind that that may not always be the case. So if you do not have an equilateral triangle, your faces are all going to be completely different, which sort of makes everything ridiculously difficult. But we've got our one base plus, because the base is, because it looks like we've got 3 faces, which are all going to be equal. Yeah, because the base is an equilateral triangle, it's likely the faces will have the same height. Let's go ahead and write the formulas. Base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. You end up multiplying it by 3 afterward. So let's do the base. The base is the bottom. Remember, typically the bottom on an image. So the base, oh, here's my little right angle. Here it is right there. So my base is 10. And my height is looking like that. It is 12. Remember, we're looking at the bottom. That's why we're looking at the 12 and not the 14 for the base. So base times height, it's going to be 10 times 12, which is 60. All right, let's look at the faces. The face, here's a face. We'll look at this face right here. And here's my right angle. So here's my base of 10, and my height is 14. So 10 times 14 divided by 2, that is 70. Now remember, multiply by 3. So that's 210. So now I add 60 plus 210, which is 270. 270 what? 270 inches squared. Woo, that was not too shabby. All right, let's do our last one. Example 6, final one. All right, we have another equilateral triangle, 15 and 15. All right, let's do this. So here's my net. You can say that this has 15 and the height is 19. You know what? I'm going to write it on the side. I actually prefer doing it this way. Here's the base. And we've got 3 faces. And we're going to add them afterward. So base times height divided by 2. Faces, base times height divided by 2. Let's get our information. Let's look at my base. Here's my base right there. It's on the bottom. So what is the base and height of my base? Here's the little right angle. The base is 15 and the height looks like it is 12. So 15 times 12. divided by 2. And 15 times 12 divided by 2 is 90. Let's go at our faces now. So our faces, it's going to be this one. This one right here gives us the most information. So here's my right angle. So here's the height. So the base is 15. And my height looks like it is 19. So 15 times 19 divided by 2. Do I know that off the top of my head? Certainly not. It is 142.5 once you put in your calculator. Now remember, we still have to multiply by 3, so I'm going to bring that down. Whoop. So I'm going to times that by 3. So 142.5 times 3 is 426. Did I do this correctly? 142. Oh, you know what? I did not. It's 142.5 times 3. There we go. 427.5. I knew I did something wrong. Be careful with your calculator work. It's very common. So once I do that, I add these two up, 427.5 plus 90. And you get 517.5. What unit is it? It is in feet, so feet square. Well, there you go. That is how you find the surface area of these figures. Is it difficult? Yeah, surface area is horrendously long and complicated, but hopefully you feel like some kind of super genius, because you got to be a super genius to figure out the surface area of this stuff. Go ahead and try some problems on your own. Good